I like it. And I believe the drivers are hitting the grid. We're going to have a rolling start, 10 drivers, 40 laps, one Joker lap. We'll see what this race has in store for us. I am excited to see this one get underway. And here we are on board with Metal. Metal finished P3 in the first race in the Corvette. And looks like he's keeping that going. Vetterdan also in the Corvette in P2 just behind. Curious to see if those Fords jump ahead at the start like we saw in the first race. But here we are underway. Green flag, green flag, green, green, green. And we have, it looks like the Corvette does struggle a little bit out on the rolling start to get up to speed. You see Fernando there in the Ford able to catch pretty quickly. Fernando going on the inside, getting out of the slipstream, and they're too wide further back. A little bit of sparks flying here at the Daytona Tri-Oval. And Vetterdan going to work with his work with his Chevrolet teammate and stay behind, but struggling to stay in the slipstream. But the Corvettes look like they're pulling away a little bit from Fernando, wouldn't you say, Tussin?
Yeah, to start the race, to see those two Corvettes pulling away like that, it's a scary sight because they do have a bit of an advantage in the top end compared to the other cars. However, we've seen that the fuel wear, and well, not fuel wear, fuel usage and the tire wear on these cars is a bit higher than the others. So, you know, 2 laps in, definitely going to see how everything goes. But so far,
sorry to cut you off there. Racer X goes high up into the wall, and I'm 720, 900, 1080. I don't know how many spins that was, but that was rough. Let's see this again. I saw Geezer Gears back there. They went 3 wide, and then he goes up high. Papa on the inside. Good job avoiding, and contact there with Mr. Racing. I imagine that is damage from Mr. Racing, and wow, Racer X, if you're in VR, you must be nauseous. Does that count as a Joker attempt? Or is he going to have to attempt it again? That does not count. That unfortunate spin in the right place does not count as a Joker lap. He did not indicate he was going to use do the Joker lap by turning on his turn signal. Therefore, it does not count. He's going to have to run as Ecstasy gets reset. So this is not looking good for Racer X or Ecstasy. I believe Ecstasy just attempted to take the Joker. His turn signal is on, and what happened? Oh, he goes under the apron. Oh my goodness. So that was, according to the game, that was too long for him to be off the circuit, and resets him. So he did get the Joker lap completed. However, he did not get back above the yellow line in time, causing a reset. That's a big ouchie there to SSC as we look back on board with the leaders. And then further back we have a Viper and a Ford. Papa finding another Ford to stare at. Papa's been staring at Ford GT taillights for an hour and 20 minutes.
we got the 2 leaders, Metal and Vetterdan. They both have their left turn signal on, so they look like they might be going for their Joker lap together. Let's see, both of them, yep, hard on the brakes. Vetterdan's going to try to make a move down the inside. Going into the Joker. Does get a small bump from Vetterdan, but it looks like that was pretty much a clean execution. Metal will stay in front, but that is both of their Jokers done.
Wow, way to work together. That was incredible. As we see a new leader, Fernando B has Papa and Geezer Gears right there. So we got a 3-way battle for the lead. The previous P1 and P2 took their Joker lap. It looked like Vetterdan was just a little late on the brakes, went deep, and then allowed Metal to get back ahead as he regained control of his car. But that looked very clean to me. So keeping up with those keys to the race, they are doing a great job. As we see Fernando getting pushed along by Papa and Geezer Gears in tow. Not too far back is VKG. VKG was in 10th. He is now up into P4 and has Mr. Racing, who did make contact when Racer X spun out, and Nasty not too far behind. So we're on lap 7. Only 2 drivers have taken the Joker. What are you expecting in this first stint, Tuzin?
Yeah, so while you mentioned that, I'm looking at the fuel gauges for some of the Corvettes. Vetterdan and Ecstasy, they're below 1/3 of a fuel tank used, whereas others are hovering just a bit below 75%. So Vetterdan, he's hanging on to the close-up metal, which, you know, they could still be the potential leaders of this race, but that fuel usage, that's going to come into play in a little bit. He's going to have to make adjustments if he's going to hold on to that slit from metal.
Indeed. And VKG, as we just saw there, in the Corvette, but he does not have a buddy. That is not going to play out well. His fuel was getting close to that halfway mark, and we are only on lap 8. We know they need to make it to they would like to make it to at least lap 20 on a tank of fuel. We saw what happened to Leo, having to make a 2-stop as VKG gives us a couple toots of the horn, if you will. And Nasty with a 1.5 second penalty. That is going to hurt. He's currently in P6 and in the tow of Mr. Racing, but as soon as he serves his penalty, he's going to fall back, and that's going to allow Metal and Vetterdan to work their way up closer to him.
Now, I'll be curious to see if he decides to take his Joker lap or if he'll just accept the penalty and maybe try to get behind. I guess Metal would be the next person behind. I don't know if he's going to be able to catch up after that penalty, but yeah, we'll see what he does. He does have the left turn signal on, so it looks like he is going to take the Joker. Let's see if he can keep it clean. A little late on the brakes, does cut. I think for the first iteration of this, we might let that slide.
Right.
But yeah, Nasty does have his Joker lap complete after serving that penalty.
Awesome. And yeah, I mean, he cut that first little bit, but he kept it on most of that track and gets back on. So very smart for Nasty to serve his penalty and Joker lap in the same time, as it looks like we have a new leader. PHG, Papa's House of Games, back up in front, but no. Fernando wants it. He wants to lead this whole race for the remainder, but oh, and Papa almost gets pushed down below the apron. Fernando Button back up in the lead. I've raced with Fernando quite a bit, and he doesn't give an inch. He gives you the bare minimum and makes you work for it. We see Fernando back in the lead, Papa having to settle back into P2. And Geezer Gears has lost touch to both of them. He was right there on the back, so he must have had a bit of a wiggle, and falling back almost a second and a half in that Viper. And we look at VKG under half a tank, still over a third of a tank, but he's going to have to start thinking, and you can see they're just cruising at 200. That makes me think he's running a fuel map, because that Corvette should be going a bit faster, wouldn't you say, Tussin?
Oh yeah, for sure. Anything over 210, they're most likely running either fuel map 1 or fuel map 2. Metal in 6th place, he's topping out at about 208, 209. So yeah, he's definitely running that at a lower fuel map.
So this is good. These drivers using that first race. This is the inaugural race of the Joker series. So kind of using that first one as a testing ground. I have a feeling when we reveal race 2 for September, we're going to see these drivers putting some real practice in, getting ready for that, and we'll have a good strategy in play, because it is going to be a great one. I'm very excited for it. This is also a good opportunity, as we have a new race leader of Geezer Gears, so that would be Papa and Fernando going into the pits, or taking their Joker lap.
Joker lap,
yeah. Their Joker. Okay, my bad. Geezer Gears. Oh! Getting it wrong. don't get reset, Geezer Gears. Okay, he's back on track, but watch out for Papa. Papa on the upside. Geezer Gears staying down low. VKG also taking his Joker lap. Metal moving up into P3. VKG in P7. Fernando B in P5. Holy cow, we got a all bit of a shakeup as Mr. Racing is now the new leader of this race. Okay, people are getting it now, wouldn't you say, Tussum?
Yeah, they saw the last race or participated in the last race, so this is a bit more strategy coming in. As I see Logan, it was really, really late on the turn signal. And he also wasn't in the appropriate start zone for that. Not sure how the stewards would see that. I mean, he did take the Joker lap, but I don't think he gave enough notice to state that he was doing so.
Was there another car close behind him? There was.
No, he had about when he first hit the brakes, he was about 3 seconds ahead. So I don't think there would have been any interference.
Yeah, if the drivers are on their own like that, they can take a more optimal line. It's just when they are in traffic with other cars around, they have to indicate and be in their proper zone to avoid any contact penalties. Because if they're out of their proper zone and there's contact, it's their fault. But if they're in the zone with the signal on and somebody hits them, it's that other driver's fault. So as long as he was on his own like that, he is safe. Playing it smart. It looks like he was paying attention to what he needed to do because he took that Joker lap pretty well. Metal now applying pressure to Fernando. Metal working his way back up into P3 and Vetterdan right behind him as SSC takes a very early pit stop. SSC did get reset, so they're having to be, their adaptability is at an all-time high, changing up the strategy of their race. Fernando B trying to hold on to P2, but it seems like Metal has the power, gives Fernando a little bump, then goes out wide. It's going to cut back in, take a slightly different line through the turn, but Vetterdan loses it. Look at his front right tire. That understeer is becoming prominent, specifically in the Corvettes. What do you think about the Corvettes' fuel right now and how long they're going to be able to make it last, Tussum?
Looking at the Corvettes, the ones that haven't pit yet, it's going to be really close. VKG, I think he's going to either have to pit this lap or next lap. But where are the other ones? So we've got Metal. He has enough to make it to at least lap 20, it looks like. Vetterdan, he's going to have to probably save a little bit more, which I believe he's already doing to make it to that lap 20 goal.
Indeed, VKG low on fuel, still has his turn signal on. That's going to be an adjustment for everyone, making sure they are doing what they're supposed to be doing with the turn signal. As we see, Mr. Racing also has his turn signal still on. So it's going to be a common thing to happen, but if you know that person has taken their Joker lap, you know the turn signal is just getting left on. But early on in the race, it could be cause for concern. Has everyone taken the Joker? I think so, right?
So if my records are correct, and unless I missed it, I believe the only driver left to do the Joker is Fernando B. I didn't see him on my end, but it's possible that I missed it. But I think he might be the only driver, but every other driver has done their Joker.
According to Joe Collins, there was contact with Papa and Fernando when Papa went to take his Joker. So not sure what happened there. That's going to be a post-race look at the replay to see how that played out as VKG comes in a lap early for fuel. And we know how long fuel takes to fill, and that's about a lap. And that's going to put VKG pretty far behind.
Oh, Fernando. Sorry to cut you off, but Fernando, he was taking his Joker lap, and he got it wrong coming out of the bus stop. He also got a little bit of a bump from, I believe it was Nasty chasing him. You know, he turned on the turn signal, went to hit the brakes, and there was a bit of contact before he got into the braking zone. Hopefully he can get away without... Oh, no, he did get reset. Spent just a bit too much time off track, and... Yeah, he got reset, so that hurts him even more.
Well, I do want to shout out Fernando because it looks like, according to Joe Collins, Fernando waited up for Papa with that first incident and then knew he still needed to take the Joker lap and did it then. So big shout out to Fernando for understanding the rules and being a good sportsman. Thank you, Fernando. You get a prop just for that. As we see more drivers in the pits, that's very smart. Papa on his end lap, taking the Joker properly and getting into the pit. So this is going to be one of those ones where it's definitely going to need to be, we're going to have to watch the replay and see who did what, when, and where, because this is where it gets complicated. This is where we need Gran Turismo 8 to allow as many people in the lobbies as possible so we can have eyes everywhere, even if you're not racing. So Vetterdan looking like he will gain a couple positions because he's got a lot more speed as Papa and Mr. Racing come out of the pits. That puts Vetterdan back up into P3. Geezer Gears in P2. Does Geezer Gears still need to pit? No, right?
No, he's completed his pit.
Right, and so Vetterdan with the overspeed back up into P2. Oh my goodness, we have a new race leader. What's going on with Metal?
I don't know. He was he was really slow on the main straight. I'm wondering what happened. He didn't need to take a joke or anything. I wonder if there was an incident and maybe he was letting someone by. But yeah, Vetterdan up in the lead now.
Can't find a Vetterdan in P1. Geezer Gears in P2. What a big difference one race makes for Geezer Gears. Not having the best first race, but now has Ecstasy applying pressure, trying to go the long way around the outside. Looks like he's going to get it done. That is Ecstasy up into P2 using the overspeed of the Corvette. He's going to have to think about fuel, though. Actually, you know what? It looks like he did his fuel. Well, no. He's almost at half a tank of fuel. We're only on lap 22.
Yeah, that's definitely not going to make it. I think even if you put it on fuel map 6, I think at this point that's not going to be enough to finish the race.
Yeah, so Ecstasy going to have to pit again and pull a classic Leo and make it a two-stopper. Metal in P4. We are on lap 23 of 40. Pit stops have been served. Joker laps have been served. And this race a lot closer than the first race. Loving what I'm seeing. Papa currently in P5. Had been a race leader at one point with Fernando Button. But Fernando Button has fallen way back. VKG, I'm curious if he's going to be able to make his fuel last to the end, because he did pit a couple laps earlier than everybody else, and he is in the Corvette, but his fuel isn't looking bad.
Yeah, he's definitely using less than what he did on his first stint. I think he's still going to have to be really careful because he's almost used up a quarter of a tank after, it looks like he pit on lap 19. So, yeah, the fuel consumption is looking better, but he still needs to be really careful. But he's, all alone in P8, so no threat from behind and no slip from ahead. So, just going to be a race of survival for him.
Indeed, it's going to be a long and lonely road as we look on board P7, Mr. Racing, and, he's within the slip of Nasty. There's a battle for P5 to be had. If he and Nasty can work together, they can get their way back up to Papa. Nasty currently out of the slipstream of Papa, but now Mr. Racing has fallen back a bit. They were a second apart, now 1.5. We're seeing fuel map adjustments, that is for sure. I wish we could visually see them in this game, as a spectator. Unfortunately, we can't, but clearly these drivers are doing some fuel and tire management, as we saw it play out in the first race. But now Ecstasy has caught to Vetterdam, 217 miles an hour, Corvette versus Corvette, going too wide into turn 1 and 2, and Ecstasy having to fall back in, but carrying the overspeed. Are they going to work together? No, Ecstasy opting not to bump draft Vetterdam. That is surprising to me, but we do know that Ecstasy is on a very different strategy based on his fuel consumption. So he wants to get as far ahead as possible because he knows he's going to have to pit again as they're catching lap traffic. Fernando B not far ahead. This is going to help out Vetterdam. Vetterdam going to get that slipstream. They may go 3 wide here as everybody tries to hug the yellow line. No, Ecstasy has to push himself up high as to not make contact with Vetterdam. If you're Ecstasy, what are you thinking here, Tussim?
I mean, if I'm in this situation, I don't know. I don't think you can fuel save enough to make it to the end. He definitely put himself in a tricky position. Yeah, all he can really do is, I guess, I would try to work together with Vetterdam just to build as much of a gap to the drivers behind and hope that I have enough when I come into the pits.
Now, if you were Vetterdam, would you be trying to get ahead of Fernando there, or would you just try to bump draft him and keep moving along with SSC right behind you?
Well, at this point, I wouldn't know that Estony needs to pit. So I would think I would want to keep Fernando B in front of me for company. Just, for the bump draft to save some fuel. Once I realize that STC, eventually has to pit, and I'll see the gap to the new P2 behind me, I'll start to, kind of relax and control the pace from there.
Indeed. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense as we see Geezer Gears and Metal battling it out. Further back, we have Papa and Nasty as well. So a lot of 2-car, 3-car battles. Papa finishing P2 in the first race, opting not to set an optimal qualifying this race, has moved up a few positions into P5, but it looks like Nasty might be making a move. No, he tucks back in on the straight. It seems like a lot of these drivers are struggling to stay close behind in the turns, and I think that's where the sport tires over racing tires and road cars over group cars is really coming into play. A lot of us are used to driving with high downforce and racing tires where you just keep it pinned, turn the wheel, and you're good. And as we see there, looking up the inside, but then having to adjust their angle as Papa comes back down. Nasty still maintaining P6, and I absolutely love this. And I know you do too, Tussim, because you come into my lobbies on Tuesday night and you just come tear it up. So I know you appreciate this type of racing.
Yeah, road cars, they always make for really good racing. Without having the sticky tires and the high downforce to rely on, it really turns into, really battling control of the car, especially if you're on, sports tires or, even for some cars going as low as comfort tires. Becomes really challenging without all that grip.
Yeah, comfort tires are a treat, in my opinion. SSC is our new race leader as he's trying to get by Fernando Button, and he is running low on fuel. He's going to have to come into the pits pretty quickly, and he is being forced up the outside as his tires are, oh my goodness, it's lap 31, almost lap 32, and it is not looking good for SSC. At least he's getting some laps up front, getting some show time, getting his face in the camera, and making it look good, but he is going to have to pit. And I don't know how far back. It'll be interesting. Do you think, so here we go. This is a perfect example. He's going to pit. Will he come out ahead of Fernando? Fernando being right behind him. What do you think?
I think it'll depend on how long he'll have to refuel. but I think he will be demoted to last after his pit stop.
Well, at least he had some time to shine in the spotlight. Coming into the pits, P1, new race leader, Better Dan. Then we have Geezer Gears and Metal to round out the podium. Very, very, very nice.
So here's one thing to keep an eye on with 8 laps left. Better Dan with no slip. He's down to just over a quarter of a tank of gas, although he is coming up, or he might be coming up on Fernando B. Geezer and Metal, they've got quite a bit more fuel on board, so if Metal can get to the back of Geezer, they might be able to work together and catch up with Vetter Dan and maybe have a shot at taking P1 and possibly P2 from him.
Oh, that I hope so. No offense, Better Dan. You know I love you, but I'm thinking of a visual, the visuals of this, and it'll be good because Better Dan in P1, he is not far behind Fernando at all. With that quarter tank, but yeah, you're right. Look at that fuel difference there on Geezer Gears. Way different. You can be a lot more liberal with your throttle. But Papa moving up and into P4 and now has caught Metal. Papa's looking for a double podium and Metal just lets him on through. Maybe Metal knows he needs that slipstream if he wants to make his car last to the end.
Yeah, I saw the hazards on, so I don't know if he went into pause mode, but yeah, Nasty. It seems to have dropped back a little bit, so yeah, Papa flying through the field, just about 2.5 seconds behind Geezer. Metal's going to be closing up shortly, hopefully, so might still have a last-ditch effort for that win.
It's going to be good. I like, I'm a big fan of turning off ghosting and everything in the lobby so that when you come upon lap traffic, they are in the way. Like they have to make the choice to get out of the way. And when you're at a tri-oval, honestly, like NASCAR rules is you don't have to get out of the way. You don't want to impede the other drivers, but you can keep driving your line. And that's what we've been seeing. We saw C-Dubs, you know, disrupt that battle for the end, which made it that much more exciting. I love to see it. Better Dan still in P1. He can see Fernando. He would love that slip, but look at his fuel. With 4 laps left and Geezer Gears applying the pressure, look at that. 1.5 seconds between Geezer Gears and Better Dan. Geezer Gears able to pull away a bit from Papa. Papa's still in P3, but Geezer Gears, is he close enough for the win?
I think so. I think Vetter Dan might be on a really low fuel map. I'm thinking like 4 or maybe even 5. It's like the rate that Geezer's catching. Like Geezer's now in the slip, so this should be a pretty easy overtake, but we'll see. Yeah, Vetter Dan, I think he's just really struggling with that fuel consumption in that Corvette.
Wow, amazing! Again, when we've been testing this for a while, y'all. And I thought, along with Tussenbox, that it would just be a one-make Corvette show. And I love being proved wrong. As we see Geezer Gears up into P1. Let's go, Turtle Shell. I've met this guy in person. I've hung out with him, and I am not biased at all. Let's go.
Getting a little bit of redemption after the little mishap with the countdown timer in the last race.
Indeed, yeah.
Yeah, 3 laps to go. Vetter Dan, it looks like, oh no, that's really low. Let's see if he can make it or if he has to pull it for a little splash and dash.
Yep. Papa could get back-to-back P2s, but his fuel doesn't look great. We are on the penultimate lap. I mean, they don't have to make it last long, but it's amazing how quick a lap is around here until you're running out of fuel. And then a lap around here is an eternity. You know what I mean?
A better Dan's Corvette just barely capping out at 200. I'm willing to bet he's on fuel map 6 right now. He might even have to consider like half throttle for the rest of this next lap.
Oh,
Papa overtakes around the outside to take P2. He's got 2 seconds to Geezer, slightly catching up, but I think this might be a comfortable win with Geezer. He's got a little more fuel on board. Vetter Dan, it looks like this is just waiting for it any second now. He's going half throttle now. There it is. That's the end of his fuel tank.
Oh, there goes metal. Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, I don't even need to, you know, driver of the race, Geezer Gears. Like, what a race for him. He didn't really lead all that much. He was just always in the mix. And look at him as he's about to come across the line. Victory. Papa P2
runs out of fuel as he crosses the line too.
Metal back-to-back P3s, Papa back-to-back P2s, Mr. Racing P4, BKG. You know what? Shout out to BKG as well. He moved up the field there, and he even pitted early, not thinking he was gonna. Oh, better. I don't mean to laugh at you, but I'm laughing. I'm sorry. I apologize. I don't mean to be mean. Fernando B, go, go, go. Oh, no, better Dan across the line. Fernando B finishing the race.
Oh, Fernando even ran out of fuel at the end there.
Well, that
just
was
before the finish line.
That was a treat. That was great. Good job, everybody. With the victory, Geezer Gears up 6 positions. So we have Geezer Gears P1, Papa P2, Metal P3. That's a Viper 1-2. Then a Corvette. Mr. Racing in the Viper P4. 3 Corvettes in a row. BKG P5. SC P6. Vetterdan P7. Then Fernando B in the 4 GT and P8. And then we had 2 DNFs because of unfortunate racing there. Mistakes were made. Things happen. Nasty and Racer X. But that was awesome.